to my channel and a really warm welcome if you are new around here. My name is Gemma and I am mum to 18-month-old Oscar. We currently live in Dubai, but we are on the move to Ireland, hence my very empty bedroom. In this week's video, I am going to show you 10 different practical life activities that you can do with your toddler. I've actually made a video exactly the same as this when Oscar was 12 months old, so the 12 to 18 month stage, and he is still doing all of those things that were in that video. So if you haven't checked that out, I will link it above now and I'll put it in the description box below. In that video, I also went through the purpose of practical life activities and why they're so essential for our child's learning. In this week's video, I'm going to show you 10 more practical life activities that your child can do, possibly when they're 12 months, but Oscar has really just started to do them from around maybe 17, 18 months old. They are all activities that you probably already do around your home and possibly just haven't thought about getting your toddler involved in them. So without further ado, here is 10 more practical life activities that you can do with your toddler at home. First activity is unloading the dishwasher. Now, this has taken Oscar a while to be able to accomplish, and for a long time I did this on my own when he was engaged in an activity or asleep. And then he got to an age where he was much more confident with carrying things, and it did take practice, but he was able to take things and deliver it to the correct place in the kitchen. All you need to do is make sure that obviously the things that they can access are safe, so take out the knives and things like that, and that also they're able to put them in the correct cupboard. So obviously you don't want them to be able to take something that is in a cupboard up high. They need to be able to access it. So the pots and pans and his little drawer with all his containers in is perfect for him to help with. Mopping is a big hit in our house, and so I bought Oscar this tiny little mop and bucket set, which was super cheap online. I'll link it in the description box below. And he really enjoys it because it is building on his love of water, but also being able to be physically active. The next activity is helping in the preparation of food. And for this, a learning tower is what I would say is essential. We use the IKEA step stool and have hacked it, and I'll put the link in the description box below of how you can do this yourself. And basically you add the top bit and you add a latch, and it means that your child can access the kitchen counter at the same level as you in a safe way. So they're able to stand at your height and at the perfect height for the counter and be involved in the preparation of food, which is an absolute game changer, because if I didn't have a learning tower, I would basically have a toddler around my ankles crying whenever I prepared food, and that might be the same for you. So having a learning tower means that your child can access the counter and be completely involved in helping to prepare. Now obviously depending on their age will depend on how much they can be involved. Oscar is able to pour now and mix, and we are just starting out with being able to cut. So again, something that you might want to invest in is a child-safe knife. Now at 18 months, a crinkle cutter is perfect for this. It means that their hands are out of the way when they cut, and they are able to successfully cut because it is sharp enough to do that with vegetables and things like that, but their hands are always going to be out of the way and safe. Being involved in the preparation of food allows your child to experience the cooking process, the textures and tastes and all the other things that are involved in cooking. So if you've got a picky eater, this is also something that you might want to think about getting your child involved in, because if they're involved in the making of the food, they're more likely to be wanting to eat it at the end. As with many practical life activities, it is often adults that need to just take a step back and say, could my toddler do this for themselves? Well, that is definitely the case for putting things in the bin. At 18 months, Oscar is able to successfully get things into our recycling bin, and he's also able to operate a pedal bin, which is great for coordination, learning how to press and hold the bin open for enough time to pour in whatever you need, and then remove your hand and then remove your foot is amazing coordination. So definitely get your child to start putting things in the bin themselves. Being responsible for the spills that we make is all adding to your child's independence. So if they make a spill with their cup or whatever it might be, give them a rag and allow them to clear it up. They become much more responsible through doing this, and they will eventually learn to go get the rag themselves. Practical life activities are just allowing your toddler to mimic the things that you do. So every day, pretty much, we have some washing on our drying rack that needs to be taken off, and Oscar is now pretty expert at getting those things off and also getting them successfully into the laundry basket. If you've got a slightly older child, you can also start getting them to put the things on the rack, or if you've got a slightly younger child, you could take a step back from this and get them just to pull out the washing from the washing machine. So there's lots of things that your child is already observing you do, and you'll be really surprised if you just allow them that little bit of independence, how much they can do by themselves, and actually how much they enjoy it. This is not a chore to your child. This is pure enjoyment, as you can see in Oscar's face. By doing practical life activities, we are creating good habits for our children, and allowing them to switch on and off lights is a really good habit to get them into from a young age. If you're anything like me, I remember being shouted at by my parents for just not switching off lights when I was a teenager, and it's because it wasn't a habit. So getting them young and allowing them to do this is a really good habit for the future. Helping to unpack the groceries is a real favourite for Oscar, and I think he really actually looks forward to doing it every week. It allows him the opportunity to have a good rummage through the shopping and see what's going to be on offer. It's great for learning about different vegetables and fruits and looking at their textures and colours. And particularly as the adult, you can really encourage lots of vocabulary by doing this activity. So as Oscar unpacks things, we talk about what each item is. He's able to touch and feel, look at the colours. There's so much opportunity here that could easily be missed if you just speeding through unpacking the groceries. I posted this on my Instagram very recently about how if unpacking groceries was a race, we would definitely lose. But for the most part, it's not a race, and there is that time. It only takes maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes possibly extra of your time to just do this with your child. The amount that they can get from just this simple task is just astounding. Oscar has learnt the names of so many different things, and colours particularly, just by doing the groceries. And I think if you're just getting started with practical life activities, this is so simple and just one of those things that if you can just stand back for a few minutes and take that little bit of extra time, your toddler will get so much out of it. This next activity is fairly new to our repertoire, and it is allowing your child to clear up after their meal themselves. Now, this is another one that very simply I could do much quicker than Oscar, but it is a real learning opportunity for him. He isn't so good at it at the moment and does still require me to help him out, but he hates having his face washed particularly, and actually if he's able to do a bit of it himself, he much prefers it. So I let him start and then I finish it off, so the actual task is much quicker. I then allow him to wipe down his tray, which he absolutely loves, just like wiping up spills from the floor. This is another way of introducing that kind of activity, something that he observes me doing, and now that he can do himself makes him super, super proud. So we've made it to our final activity, which is cleaning the windows. If you haven't invested in a spray bottle yet, I really suggest you do so. The action required to make the bottle spray really supports your toddler's pre-writing muscles, and they learn to mimic you by cleaning the windows, which they absolutely love. The fact that it's a spray bottle also means that they don't get too wet whilst doing this task.